Hey guys, this is Slump, and today I'm going to be showing you step-by-step process of how I go about making my beats. So this is a beat that I made earlier today. Takes inspiration from Bones, and I'm just going to kind of go through the process of it, just to show you guys, just for something cool. So, first of all, we have the loop. I'll go ahead and play it right now, just so you can guys see, guys can see what it sounds like. What? Oh, my headset's down. There we go. So basically, for the loop, what I did, I went into Splice. It's pretty cheap, if you have money. It's easy, it's cheap, and it's got some nice sounds. I used this loop right here called Piano Loop Dole. So what I did basically, I had it normally like that, just like that, and then I time stretched it out because it was at 140 BPM, but I wanted the song to be slower at around 125. So I time stretched it, and then it fit with the tempo, and then I pitched it down about 600 cents. I got this sound. And the effects that I usually put on my loops goes as follows. So this is what it sounds like without, first of all. Still sounds pretty good, but the effects that I put on it and the plugins and just everything, I feel like it makes it sound a little bit better. Now you can see the difference there. That's without. That's with. So, first of all, I had put on this EQ to, well, first of all, turn it off. And this EQ, what it does, it cuts out the lows so that the 808s and the kick can fit in there. And I also cut out the highs just for the hi-hats, the snares, those higher sounding sounds. And then I boosted it a little bit at around 3K hertz just to give it more presence in the mix. It's a very slight difference, but it makes the track fit really well. And then I just cut out more of the lows just to help it fit a little bit nicer. And then I put some chorus on there just to give it that wider sound, kind of. Now it's very slight, but it makes a lot of difference during the track. I put the sound goodizer, it's on the A setting at about 9%. Again, pretty slight difference, but it makes a lot of difference. And then I put this stereo shaper just to kind of push it more upwards. So I'll play it with the stereo shaper and without, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So this is without. And this is with. As you can hear, it sounds like instead of it being in the middle, it's pushed more up, which is nice because it makes it so that the drums have more space to fit in the mix. and then I put reverb on it. So again, play it without, and then with. You can kind of hear the reverb in action. And then last but not least, for the loop, I had put the stereo enhancer on just to give it more of that panned sound that you can hear in the final product. So again, I'll play it without, and then with. You see how it just kind of widens it out. That's what you really want with these kind of beats, is you want that wide sound with your loop, or even if you make your own melody, you just want that wide sound. And then, second of all, I put this Memphis vocal on. This is from a drum kit. I have the stash kit, and it is 52. Let's see. This one.
Bitches get me hot, best believe I'm a star friend.
And then what I did with this one, again, I time stretched it. I pitched it down a little bit. And then, as for the plugins and effects go, I put this. Well, first of all, here's what it sounds like without the plugins and effects.
Bitches get me hot, best believe I'm a star friend.
And this is what it sounds like with.
Bitches get me hot, best believe I'm a star friend.
And what I did, first of all, I put an EQ to again cut out a lot of those lows, because with the vocals, especially if it's hook vocals, this is kind of like Suicide Boys-esque type shit. If it's hook vocals, you don't want it to be all that present. You still want the people to be able to hear it and for it to have that impact, but you don't want to have a lot of that wide presence in the track. So that EQ just kind of helped with that. And then I cut out more of the lows. And then I just boosted it a little bit to, because yes, you don't want it to have a lot of presence in the track, but you still want some presence, if that makes sense. You don't want it to just be in the background. You want it to be more towards center back, if that makes sense. You want it to be in the center, but a tiny bit back, but not too far in the background. So boosting that frequency at 32K or 3200, that really makes a difference right there, as you can see. It helps a lot, even if the difference is not that noticeable. It really does help a lot. And then again, I have a sound goodizer at A with 16% on the knob, and it just sounds like this. And then I added reverb to it, which sounds like this. It just really gives that kind of airy, like, just very dark feel that you want for these kinds of beats. And then I'm going to go ahead and play the loop and the vocals together, both with their effects on. Let me just, there we go. Bitches get me hot, best believe I'm a star friend. Bitches get me hot, best believe I'm a star friend. So that's really what you kind of want with these kind of beats, is something like this. Bitches get me hot, best believe I'm a star friend. Like I said, this beat is like more Bones and kind of Suicide Boys-esque, and this Memphis vocal right here is really inspired by Suicide Boys. You don't have to have these hook vocals for this kind of genre. I mean, look at Ghostman, for example. He doesn't use those kinds of vocals, but I would still put him in the same broad kind of section that I'm putting this beat in, if that makes sense. So, yeah. Just like that. And then also with the loop, I did pan it a little bit to the left, can't talk right now. And then now for the drums, what I did. So first of all, I put this hi-hat right here. It's okay. No. Oh yeah, I got it. And then what's going on with it? Oh. Okay. So for the hi-hat, this is what it sounds like. So just like that, that's kind of what you want with these kind of beats. Again, is just an airy, wide feel. And for the effects, I first put an EQ to really cut out all the lows, because as you can see, this one had a lot of lows. So I just cut it around, 1.5K hertz. That will just help a lot, just to make the rest of the track fit really well. And then again, I boosted the highs to give it more of that presence. As you can hear, it is a slight difference, but again, it helps a lot. And then I put some reverb on it. I think the reverb sounds nice, and then I put some chorus on it. Again, a really, really slight difference, but it helps a lot. And then this phaser comes into play during the actual intro of the beat, so I won't get into that right now, but I will later. And second of all, I have this 808. For the 808, all I did was cut out some of the highs, because this one had a lot of highs, so just did that. And then I boosted the bass at 48 hertz and at 92. Just to give it more of that filling feel that you want with the bass in these kind of tracks. You want a very low, wide, fulfilling fill with the 808s in this kind of music. A very, very just dark sounding bass. And then next I have the kick. I didn't put any effects on this. I just Now the kick might sound weird on its own, but it does fit in with the rest of the track. And then I have this chop snare. It's panned a little bit to the left. I put a EQ on it to just boost the lows of it, because for the chop snare, the inspiration for boosting the lows I got was from Rain in Blood by Suicide Boys. The chop snare in there and that beat for that song has a really low presence, and it sounds really good. Now in this beat, I didn't perfect it. It's my first time trying it, so you can't really hear it, but as time goes on, in some more beats that I make, and some of them I want to implement that because I think it sounds really good. And yeah. And then I have this Sugier snare. Oh yeah. Also for the chop snare, I put a little bit of fast distortion on it, and then some reverb on it, and then Sugier snare. I cut out the lows again, and then I boosted the high presence of it, and then I put reverb on it as well. And this one is panned to the right. And then I have just this basic clap here again, cut out the lows. I boosted the highs and kind of cut out some of the the midsection, and then I put reverb on it as well. Now for the crash, this one in my beat is different than what you might want in your beat, because if you listen to beats from this kind of genre, the crashes are usually extremely present, but this one kind of sits in the background, and it'll be very apparent when I play the full beat for you guys, just so you can hear it. And what I did for this one, I cut out a lot of the lows, again, because for the crash you really want those high frequencies, at least in my opinion. And then I cut out some of the mids, and then I boosted the highs just a tiny bit. And then I put delay on it, as you can hear. And then some reverb. And then, oh yeah, and then the crash is panned a little bit to the right. And then I have this open hat panned to the left. Just helps add more balance to the track. And then again, I cut out the lows and mids for this one. Just because it's an open hat, you don't need those. And then I boosted the highs. And then I put a little bit of fast distortion on this one as well. And then again, with the reverb. That's the thing with these kind of beats, guys. You don't want it to be overpowered with reverb. But with these kinds of beats, especially if it's like a Bones or a Suicide kind of beat, Suicide Boys kind of beat, you really want just a lot of that reverb, not too much. And trust me, it is difficult to get it down, and I'm still perfecting my reverb. Some of my beats, it's just like holy shit, but it's something that's really important, and something to really try to do your best on with these kinds of beats. And then I have this Kill Bill snare, or not snare, just little sound effect. You also hear that sound effect in a lot of the kinds of beats that this beat fits into with. I don't know if that makes sense, but you hear this sound effect a lot in this genre. And then again, I cut out the lows and cut out the really high highs too. And then I lowered the highs a little bit, and then lowered a little bit of the high mids, and then some of the mid. And then I put delay on it, as you can hear. And then some reverb as well. Okay. And then next, I just have this little horror movie clip that I got. I thought it sounded really nice, and I wanted to put it in my beat, so I did. And with this, I cut out the subs and the bass. And I also cut out some of the highs. And then I put a compressor on it just to make it so it wouldn't overpower. And then I put reverb on it as well. And I also put some delay. This is what it sounds like.
Your suffering will be legendary, even in hell.
I thought it sounded really nice. And then this is just a laugh sound effect that I put right before the first drop. It doesn't play anywhere else in the beat. And sometimes for these kinds of beats, that's nice. Just having a sound effect that plays once. It makes the beat sound unique and not repetitive. And then you heard that little pitch down effect? That is thanks to the gross beat right here. And then I put some reverb on it. And, well, first of all, I cut out the lows and some of the really high highs too. And yeah, that's it for the effects. Now for the arrangement. Oh, also, this vinyl crackle sound effect I put in there as well. Okay, and then for the intro, you kind of want the intros to be stretched out in this kind of genre. You want long intro. You don't want them to be too long, but a minute is fine. That's about how long this intro. Yeah, about a minute, and it sounds really good, honestly. in my opinion. So I'm gonna play, let's say from 1 to 9. I'm gonna play 1 to 9 for you guys, just so you can hear how it kind of starts off, and then I'll just go through each section of the beat as it goes on.
Your suffering will be legendary, even in hell.
And then for this section, this is where that phaser on the hi-hats come into play. So the phaser mixes over here. That's how I like it. And then when the phaser on the hi-hats, it's going to sound like this. Nope, that's not it. Maybe, oh, it's because I have it turned off on the actual. There we go. This is what the phaser on the hi-hat sounds like. So it just adds a lot to the intro. A lot of just uniqueness. And this is what the intro sounds like with everything else.
Bitches get me hot, best believe, homicide rain. Bitches get me hot, best believe, homicide rain. Bitches get me hot, best believe, homicide rain. Bitches get me hot, best believe, homicide rain.
And yeah, that's the intro basically. And then this part is the drop. I'll just play a section of that for you guys. And also, you'll hear that the kick is really punching through the mix. And that is thanks to what I did here. So basically, I routed the vocal melody bus and the drum bus to one bus, and I routed everything on it except for the kick. I sidechained the kick to the bus with everything on it, and that's how I got the kick to really just punch through the mix. And sometimes for this genre that sounds really well. For example, Grey Gods by Ramirez and Suicide Boys, that it has the same kind of gimmick with their kick. You can hear that the rest of the track kind of ducks under the kick, and like I said, sometimes, not all the times, but sometimes it fits really well in a beat. And in the case of this beat, it happened to fit really well, so I was like, okay, why not? So yeah, and then also another thing is, like, I'm trying to think here. Another thing is, I'll show you guys another thing that I did just to give the intro more just uniqueness, like I was saying. So I'll play it for you here, and then I'll kind of explain to you what I did. So that right there, that kind of like, that kind of sound, I don't know how to explain it. It's thanks to this EQ right here. I just cut out the highs and a lot of the sub and bass, and it made the track sound like that. And I just put it on this right here because it's a really nice bridge into the rest of the track. It really is. And just small things like that, even if it's just 2 bars like mine is, it can really make the difference. And you know, the melody cuts out. Just to kind of give more of that, just kind of give it more of a bridge and more of a build up into the first actual section of the beat. And for the first part of where an artist would be usually rapping on, it just sounds like this. And guys, don't be afraid to get instrumental with your experimental with your arrangement either. Like right here after all that, this is what I did, and it just adds a lot more. It just keeps the listener to the track engaged. You gotta have some parts that are different from other parts, just to keep the listener engaged. Because if you just have the same thing repeating over and over again without any changes, it can sound really repetitive and really boring, and people won't want to listen to it again. They'll listen to it once and be like, okay, and then they won't listen to it again just because it doesn't have any uniqueness. It's not interesting. But even with things like this, it just makes the track 10 times better. Just small things like that. It's really easy in music production and beat production to get focused on the big things, but it's really the small things that make the biggest differences with this. So this is what this section sounds like. Listen, just feel free to get experimental with it. It's your track, do what you want with it, and that's also another thing. If you do that, it just adds more soul to the track. It adds more of a human feel, just that experimentalism of it, and that's also something that will keep the listeners engaged, is just that experimentalism and just that differentiism. See, like right there, everything cuts out except for this hi-hat, this crash, and then that sound effect, and then the open hat that comes in later. And then the normal beat plays again. And then for the outro, we'll play that for you guys. This vinyl crackle comes back in. And then it just fades out, just like that. And then I'll go ahead and play the full track for you guys, just so you guys can kind of get a feel for this genre. If you're new to it, and I'm bad at explaining things. So this is a very, how do I word this? This is a very bare bones explanation. Like, if you want more in depth, you can check out another person's YouTube channel. I'm sure that there are videos that are way better explaining it, but, and now I'm going to play the full beat just for you guys to listen, analyze what the genre is supposed to sound like, and even just to enjoy it, because I feel that it's a really nice beat.
Your suffering will be legendary, even in hell. Bitches get me hot, best believe. On the side rain. Bitches get me hot, best believe. On the side rain. Bitches get me hot, best believe. On the side rain. Bitches get me hot, best believe. On the side rain. Bitches get me hot, best believe. On the side rain. Bitches get me hot, best believe. On the side rain. Bitches get me hot, best believe. On the side
that's the full beat. Anyone who may see this video, let me know what you think of it. You know, let me know if this video helped you at all, because like I said, I'm really not the best at explaining things. Like, this is one of my first videos like this. I have one from about a year back where I explained another one of my beats, but let me know what you guys think. You know, let me know if this video was helpful at all, even in the slightest, just explaining like what the genre is kind of about and what the beats are kind of supposed to sound like. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.